The man in that video, the one who was in the police-worn body cam footage, the one allegedly yelling, "Kill him," at police officers on January 6th, his name is Jared Wise.
He does work for us.
He works for you at the Department of Justice.
He does.
This is an individual whom a federal grand jury indicted for 2 felonies and 4 misdemeanors related to his participation in the attack on January 6th. One of those charges was forcibly assaulting, resisting, opposing, impeding, intimidating, and interfering with police with the intent to commit another felony. This is who you choose as the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of the United States of America to hire at the Department of Justice. Someone on video yelling, "Kill him," at police officers, right?
I believe he was pardoned by President Trump.
Oh, he was pardoned. You're right. You're right. Pardoned by President Trump for his offense. Pardoned for yelling, "Kill him," at police officers. You, Mr. Chairman, here. Attorney General Bondi, 6 days ago, you posted online, quote, "If you come for law enforcement, the Trump administration will come for you," end quote. I want to show you just a brief video. It's about 30 seconds, and I'll ask you a couple questions about it.
You guys are disgusting, man. Hey, you guys are disgusting. I'm former law enforcement. You're disgusting. You are the Nazi. You are the Gestapo. You can't see it because you're chasing your pension, right? Your pension, your retirement, right? That's what runs your life, your retirement.
The sad thing is they're not even going to get their pension because it's going to be worthless.
Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. Yeah. Fuck that. Yeah.
Attorney General Bondi, that man works for you now, right?
Who was that, Congressman?
The man in that video, the one who was in the police-worn body cam footage, the one allegedly yelling, "Kill him," at police officers on January 6th, his name is Jared Wise.
He does work for us.
He works for you at the Department of Justice.
He does.
This is an individual whom a federal grand jury indicted for 2 felonies and 4 misdemeanors related to his participation in the attack on January 6th. One of those charges was forcibly assaulting, resisting, opposing, impeding, intimidating, and interfering with police with the intent to commit another felony. This is who you choose as the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of the United States of America to hire at the Department of Justice. Someone on video yelling, "Kill him," at police officers, right?
I believe he was pardoned by President Trump.
Oh, he was pardoned. You're right. You're right. Pardoned by President Trump for his offense. Pardoned for yelling, "Kill him," at police officers. And yet you expect hardworking police officers across the country to believe that you take law enforcement seriously. You could imagine the reaction of so many folks across the country hearing the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of the United States refuse to even condemn what that individual whom you've now hired did. But in any event, let's talk a little bit about some of the other divisions within the Department of Justice and what's happened over the last year. You're familiar with the Public Integrity section of the DOJ's criminal division. I think it's referred to as PIN. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know which presidential administration under which the PIN was first created?
I can tell you what administration that the weaponization was ended under.
I'll reclaim my time. This wasn't a trick question.
You don't get to
Madam Attorney
reclaim
General.
your time.
Madam Attorney General.
Because I don't like
Mr. Chairman, will you explain to the witness that he does reclaim his time?
Because I don't answer a question to your satisfaction.
Mr. Chairman.
Madam Attorney General, the time belongs to the gentleman from Colorado.
The president under which PIN was created was Gerald Ford. It was created after Watergate.
Exactly.
I'm not asking a question, Madam Attorney General. The administration under which it was created was Gerald Ford. When you first started as the Attorney General of the United States, there were 35 people working in that office. There are now 2 people working in that office because you have gutted it. How many people work for the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team in the criminal division today?
Can I answer the question about PIN?
I've asked you a question. How many
You've
people
asked
work?
me a question, but you don't
How
want
many
the answer.
people work
I'm not
for the
gonna answer your
National
questions the way you
Cryptocurrency
want.
Enforcement Team? You won't answer how many
I'll
people?
answer PIN.
You,
He will not be
you know what?
weaponized.
You know what?
What's
Madam
funny
Attorney
about
General,
this?
I'll say to the chairman.
What's funny about this?
Chairman, you know what the answer is? And I think I
What's
understand
funny
why the
about
Attorney General
this?
does not want to answer the question. Because you eliminated the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team last year. So I understand why you don't want to tell the American people who works there.
Yeah, I
no one
understand
works
why
there
you don't want to
anymore,
talk about
Madam
Mohammed
Attorney
Solomon
General.
in
So
your district.
In any event,
who
I would
murdered people.
Mr. Chairman, will you stop the clock so his time is not wasted by
I've
the
been
witness?
very generous with allowing extra time when we have these little disputes.
I understand.
You got the time, Mr. Neguse?
I might as well ask the chairman these questions.
I'd be happy
because
to answer some of your questions.
What's profound, the questions I've
Profound?
asked,
The crime in
questions
your
I've
district.
asked, Mr. Chairman, are not trick questions. They're not gotcha questions. They're actually basic questions about how the Department of Justice functions and the unwillingness of this Attorney General to answer them in good faith. When a member of Congress asks how many people work at the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team and the Attorney General refuses to answer it, it is not a coincidence. It's because she eliminated the team. Why? Because her boss, the President of the United States, is making money hand over fist, $1.4 billion over the course of the last year through cryptocurrency holdings. I think what is happening at the Department of Justice is a disgrace, Mr. Chairman, and I would urge you to gain control of this hearing. With that, I yield back the balance of my time.
Yeah. I would ask the gentleman, does he agree with the standing up of the Deputy Attorney General for dealing with fraud? That's something that's happened in this administration, first time. You talked about Penn. That happened with this Justice Department.
We're talking about this committee.
Mr. Chairman, had you answered the question, had the Attorney General answered the question in that way, perhaps this hearing would have some modicum of resembling something that has typically been fairly conventional, an oversight hearing of the Department of Justice.
The gentleman's
That is
time
not
has
this.
expired. The gentlelady from Wyoming is recognized for 5 minutes.
Attorney General Bondi, I want to express my gratitude to the President.
All right, everyone, welcome back. Turn your volume up, lock your eyes on the screen, and prepare yourselves, because what we are breaking down today is an absolute nuclear demolition of bureaucratic optics inside the House Judiciary Committee. We are in the thick of a high-stakes oversight hearing, and Colorado Representative Joe Neguse is going straight for the jugular of Attorney General Pam Bondi. This isn't just a dry debate about policy or budgets. Neguse is pulling back the curtain on a profound, deeply unsettling paradox at the heart of the 2026 Department of Justice. He uses Bondi's own law and order social media rhetoric as a weapon, contrasting it against jaw-dropping personnel choices and a systematic dismantling of institutional checks and balances. What unfolds over these 6 minutes is an intense, fast-paced game of procedural chess that exposes a radical transformation within federal law enforcement. Let's lay down the educational framework for the first round of this fight, the law enforcement rhetoric paradox. Neguse opens the interrogation by quoting a post Bondi made online just 6 days prior, where she issued a fierce warning: if you come for law enforcement, the Trump administration will come for you. It's the standard, tough-on-crime platform the administration campaigns on. But Neguse immediately cues up a 30-second video of police bodycam footage from the January 6th Capitol riot. The audio is harrowing. A man is screaming at officers, calling them disgusting, Nazis, and the Gestapo, mocking their pensions, and allegedly yelling, "Kill him." Look at how Neguse handles the reveal at the 1-minute mark. He looks across the dais and asks if that man works for her. Bondi, visibly hesitant, asks who it is. Neguse drops the name: Jared Wise. A man indicted by a federal grand jury for multiple felonies and misdemeanors, explicitly charged with forcibly assaulting, resisting, and intimidating police officers during the Capitol breach. And Bondi's answer is a flat, unblinking admission: he does work for us. He works for you at the Department of Justice. This is an absolute bombshell moment. Neguse completely dismantles the administration's Back the Blue branding by demonstrating that the chief law enforcement agency in America is actively putting an indicted, anti-police rioter on the federal payroll. When Bondi tries to shield herself by stating Wise was pardoned by President Trump, Neguse flips the defense right back on her. A presidential pardon wipes away the criminal sentence, but it doesn't change historical fact. Neguse uses this to expose the moral bankruptcy of the department's hiring priorities. asking how any active duty police officer in America is supposed to take Bondi seriously when her office welcomes a man who screamed for officers' blood. Now let's analyze the second layer of this confrontation, where the hearing shifts from personnel scandals to systemic institutional destruction, the gutting of public integrity. Neguse smoothly transitions from the J6 hiring scandal to a deep look into the structural health of the DOJ's criminal division. He asks Bondi about the Public Integrity Section, known inside the Beltway as PIN. He asks if she knows which presidential administration created it. Watch Bondi's defensive reflex here. Instead of answering the historical fact, she attempts to pivot with a highly partisan talking point, snapping, "I can tell you what administration that the weaponization was ended under." This is where the hearing completely devolves into crosstalk and procedural warfare. Neguse reclaims his time, but Bondi refuses to stop talking, asserting that a lawmaker can't reclaim their time just because they don't like an answer. The chairman is forced to step in and remind the Attorney General of the basic rules of Congress. The time belongs to the gentleman from Colorado. Neguse then drops the historical reality check. The Public Integrity Section was created under President Gerald Ford right after the Watergate scandal to ensure that federal prosecutors had an independent, uncorrupted unit to investigate corrupt politicians. Then comes the devastating metric. When Bondi took over the DOJ, the Public Integrity Section had 35 dedicated prosecutors and investigators. Neguse reveals that today, there are only 2 people left in that entire office. Bondi has completely hollowed out the primary internal watchdog responsible for policing political corruption. But the absolute silver bullet of this entire transcript is the exposure of the cryptocurrency watchdog dissolution. At the 3:40 mark, Neguse tries to pin Bondi down on another specialized unit, asking how many people currently work for the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team. Bondi aggressively refuses to answer, trying to loop back to talk about the Public Integrity Section to kill time. But Neguse doesn't need her to answer because he already has the receipts. He calls out the punchline to the entire room. The reason Bondi won't answer is because her office quietly and completely eliminated the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team over the past year. Let's do an educational deep dive into why this specific detail is so profound. The National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team was designed to track down international cybercriminals, cartel money launderers, and foreign threat actors utilizing digital assets to bypass the American financial system. Neguse connects the dots for the American public, alleging that the dissolution of this elite financial watchdog isn't a cost-cutting measure. It's a direct conflict of interest to protect the executive branch. He points out that the commander-in-chief is currently making money hand over fist, pulling in an estimated $1.4 billion through personal cryptocurrency holdings. By wiping out the very DOJ team capable of investigating complex crypto networks and hidden digital assets, the administration has effectively removed the financial referees from the field while the president plays the game. As Neguse yields back his time and calls the current state of the Department of Justice an absolute disgrace, the chairman tries to salvage the optics by asking if Neguse agrees with the creation of a new Deputy Attorney General position for dealing with fraud. But Neguse shuts down the face-saving attempt, noting that if Bondi had actually engaged in conventional, good-faith oversight instead of stonewalling and yelling over questions, the hearing might have resembled an actual democratic process. Ultimately, this 6-minute and 3-second transcript leaves us with a stark, unsettling view of the American justice system in 2026. On one hand, you have Bondi and her defenders who view these structural liquidations as a necessary de-weaponization of a bloated, partisan bureaucracy. But on the other hand, the reality exposed by Neguse paints a much darker picture. A Department of Justice that protects its political allies by treating a J6 police assaulter as a viable hire, shuts down internal anti-corruption watchdogs, and completely dissolves cryptocurrency enforcement teams right as the executive branch scales up its own digital financial interests. When the gavel falls and the hearing moves on, it is clear that the guardrails aren't just being tested. They are being systematically uninstalled, leaving the American public to wonder who is left inside the Department of Justice to actually uphold the law.